people that waited in line just to share this experience of Venom, Candyman, Night of the Living Dead, The Rock, Final Destination. But I want you to know you are now entering the
Cinema
Chop Shop with a top and the pop pop. Boom boom bop bop bop.
The Cinema Chop Shop.
What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop, so park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. And today I'm here to review Squid Game Season 2. Now, everybody already knows Squid Games was a huge hit. Shit took the world by storm. Everybody loved it. And then they announced the Season 2. So then Season 2 was announced, and it took fucking like almost 5 years for the next one to come out. Good lord, it's been a long ass time. It's been so long that I was afraid that watching this show I would forget everything I learned from the other seasons, and I did at times. I just had to wing it, and I was just praying that they would give us some sort of flashback to remind us, because I couldn't remember a damn thing. I mean, when old boy woke up from the freaking whatever situation he was in, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? You know, it really took a minute for me to really figure out who the hell some of these characters were, because I forgot, because the amount of time that went by was just crazy. All right, anyway, so we have our main character back in this show, the winner from the previous season, and he's like, well, shit, you gave me all this money, I'm about to use this money to basically take you guys down. I'm about to find you guys, I'm going to take your organization down. Like, that's his greatest thing that he's going to do. He got all his damn money, he's just like, fuck it, I'm going to find a way to take you down. All right, cool. So the whole season 2 is all about him trying to take the company down, and in the process of him doing that, he ends up finding himself back in the Squid Games. Like, I mean, you guys seen the damn trailer, you know that he ends up back in the damn game. So we know that he's back in the game, and it's an interesting aspect to it because he has prior knowledge of the other games. So it's like, he's like, all right, you know, whatever. Like, I have prior knowledge. I could kind of walk you guys through it. Like, it's not a real big deal. But it just... They always throw the wrench in it because you can't make it a carbon copy of the previous season, so they switch it up on them. Anyway, to the point. The point of the matter is this. I felt like this season of Squid Games, although it was very good, I felt like it lacked in the area of making me care, right? I didn't care about the amount of the characters in the show the way that I cared about the characters from the previous season. You know, like, I had a real good attachment to most of the characters in the previous season. This one, I didn't really have that attachment to none of them. Like, you got a couple of characters that, you know, you always get the characters that they develop, and they make sure that these are the characters that are going to make the audiences feel. You know, these are the characters that you can relate to. These are the characters that you're going to feel for. And I honestly don't feel for any of the characters this year. Any of them can die. Any one of them can die, and I really wouldn't give a shit. And it's a kind of testament, because one of them does die, and I'm just like, meh. You know, like, oh, well, whatever. Like, it's not a big fucking deal. Like, you know, also, we have a twist in the show, you know, and I feel like the twist was kind of hinted at all throughout the season. I'm like, dude, like, I feel like you're giving this away. Like, if you're trying to trick the audience, or you're trying to have the audience go like a gasping moment, you're ruining it, because you're kind of highlighting certain elements that are kind of giving it away. Like, you want to be subtle. You want to kind of tell you might want to drop some hints, and then be like, later on the audience is like, oh shit, like, yeah, I remember when this and this happened and that happened. That is kind of like telling me that so and so, like, you know. But I felt like they emphasized it a little too much, and it really kind of took away the possible moment, you know, for me, especially in that season finale, because I kind of predicted it. you know. And again, like then you also have to establish the characters that are going to be the big bads, right? You of course you have the soldiers, you got the Maxman, you got all these other people that are the ones running the game show, and obviously they're bad people. But then you have people within the game that are also considered bad, and you're like, okay, well, let's see how you establish that. And they do a bad job at establishing that too. I don't feel like the characters that are established as villains are much of a threat. I really feel like you can kind of just whoop their ass, and that's it. That's all. Because I remember the previous season they had the dude that was like a freaking he was like a gang member or a loan shark or something. And he was a fucking menacing character. You know, he was all the way to the end, and he felt like a real big bad. You know, none of the characters on this season felt like a big bad, and I mean. You know, like, I know you don't want to keep doing that because you don't want it to feel like every season's kind of similar and predictable, but at the same time, you try to establish these characters as significant threats, and it just doesn't feel like that. You know, they just seem like douches. Anyway, the show does a good job at feeling familiar, but also new. But again, it just hits home, man. Like. I don't think that this season is as good as the other one. And I think it's because the other one was just so fresh and it was a good idea. And trying to kind of like build off of that, especially something that was always considered to be like a one and done thing, I think that's kind of hard to do. And to have them go to the drawing board and try to figure out a way to make this like more, how can I say it? To make this like a multi-season show, it was kind of hard, but they did a good job at figuring out a storyline that worked for them. You know, the idea of him trying to take down the company, I think that's a really good idea, a really good approach to have with this, at least with this series. And also, we're going into the third and final season of this series, and luckily, it's not like. This is one kind of like possible spoiler, right? The good thing about season 3 is that it is not another game season, if that makes sense. This is taking place it's like they basically cut season 2 in half, and like that was like part 1, and this one is going to be like part 2. So we're getting like season 2 cut in half, and we're going to see like basically the rest of the story that was in season 2. So I think that was pretty cool. I think that was a good way to go about it, because if they were to finish the Squid Game or whatever, and then turn around and try to find another way to do the game again, it would really feel repetitive, and it would get boring, and it would get stale, and it would get dry, and then people would stop caring. At least I would stop caring. But you have people that are devoted and they're really buying into it, and you know, it is what it is. But overall, like I said, this series, season 2 is good. I'm not taking nothing away from it. Story-wise, it was fun. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I was glued to it, so it did its job. But I have to admit, it's not as good as season 1. Because if season 1 is great, I think that season 2 is just good. Okay, and it's not bad. It's not mediocre. So those are good signs. But again, it's not that top tier echelon. It's not up there with the first season. And again, it's hard to do. You know, you're never gonna have a sequel that is as good as the first one. And in certain circumstances, you have a sequel that surpasses the first one, a la like a Spider-Man 2. You know, it's a very rare instance. But I have fun with it. Can't wait to see what they do in season 3. What do you guys think? Have you guys watched Squid Game season 2? Did you enjoy it? What did you think? Did you feel the same way that I did about these characters? Let me know in the comment section down below. And you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you guys are having a great day. And adios, homies.
I want to play a game. Subscribe now. The choice is yours. You're now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop.